What drives an angel to fall? For Lucifer, it was pride and the lust for power. But there exists another story, one shrouded in shadow and whispered only in ancient texts. This is the tale of Azazel, a being who fell not from ambition, but from an insatiable thirst for knowledge that even angels were forbidden to taste. Unlike the morning star who sought to rise above his station, Azazel was consumed by curiosity about the mortal realm. While other angels watched humanity with detachment, Azazel's gaze lingered with fascination. What would it feel like to experience human passion? To know desire? To taste life's sweetness and bitterness with mortal senses? The Azazel demon represents one of mythology's most fascinating transformations, a divine being who sacrificed eternity not for power, but for experience. This choice would forever alter not just his existence, but the very fabric of supernatural lore, birthing what we now know as vampire mythology. If you're fascinated by hidden histories and supernatural origins, subscribe now to journey deeper into the shadows of ancient knowledge. New mysteries await you every week. References to Azazel in the Bible are often misunderstood, particularly in relation to the scapegoat ritual. But ancient texts speak of a time before this symbolism, when Azazel belonged to the Grigori, the Watchers, angels assigned to observe humanity but never interfere. The fallen angel Azazel was stationed among these celestial sentinels, tasked with bearing witness to human civilization's growth. Their divine mandate was clear: watch, record, but never engage. Heaven's perfect observers, existing in the liminal space between divine and mortal realms. But Azazel's observation turned to obsession. While his brethren maintained their distance, he drew ever closer to humanity's flame. He began to question: what purpose does knowledge serve if not shared? Why possess wisdom if not to enlighten others? In secret, Azazel began teaching humans forbidden arts, metalworking, weaponry, the creation of mirrors and ornaments, even the secrets of herbal knowledge and astronomy. With each lesson, the boundary between watcher and participant blurred further, setting the stage for a transgression that would echo through eternity. The Azazel Bible connection reached its breaking point during an ancient ritual that would forever transform this celestial being. On a moonless night, as humanity slept, Azazel encountered a prophet, a mortal blessed with divine sight, who recognized the angel despite his disguise. "You walk a dangerous path between worlds," the prophet warned, "neither fully of heaven nor earth." The prophet offered Azazel a choice: return to his divine purpose or embrace a new existence that would allow him to experience mortality's full spectrum. The ritual required blood, the essence of life itself. In that moment of decision, Azazel's desire for knowledge overcame his divine duty. The Azazel transformation began as the angel consumed the freely offered blood. His magnificent wings, once radiant with celestial light, darkened like storm clouds before withering against his back. His eyes, which had reflected heaven's glory, now burned with crimson hunger. The divine light that had emanated from his form collapsed inward, creating a void that could never be filled. Heaven's watcher had become something entirely new, and neither angel nor human, but the first vampire forever caught between life and death. The psychological aspects of vampire mythology reflect humanity's complex relationship with mortality and desire. For Azazel, transformation brought terrible understanding. Immortality without divine purpose is merely endless existence. His new form came with an insatiable hunger, a thirst that could temporarily be quenched but never satisfied. The cruel irony wasn't lost on him. He who had sought to experience human sensation now existed as its predator. The eternal hunger myth began with Azazel's curse: to crave the very life force he once protected. To taste life without truly living. Ancient texts describe his lament: to walk through centuries watching mortals experience what I can only consume. This paradox defines the vampire condition: immortal beings who cannot truly live, who hunger for what they can never possess. Azazel's existence became a shadow of his former glory, a dark reflection of divine punishment. Yet within this curse lay a strange power, the ability to experience human emotion through blood, to absorb memories, passions, and dreams with each feeding. The origins of vampire legends begin with Azazel's loneliness. Centuries passed as he wandered the earth alone, a singular anomaly in creation's design. Eventually, he discovered he could share his condition, his dark gift, with others willing to make the same sacrifice he had made. The first to join him were seekers like himself, philosophers, mystics, and scholars who valued knowledge above salvation. Later came those fleeing death, willing to embrace any alternative to oblivion. With each new creation, Azazel's lineage expanded, establishing the first vampire bloodlines that would eventually spread across continents. Each bloodline carried aspects of its founder's nature. Some inherited Azazel's thirst for knowledge, others his melancholy, still others his capacity for both cruelty and compassion. As generations of vampires multiplied, they developed their own traditions, powers, and weaknesses, diverging from their progenitor's original form. What began as one fallen angel's choice became a shadow society existing alongside humanity, observing, influencing, and occasionally preying upon the world of mortals, much as Azazel had once watched from above. Across cultures, vampire mythology often begins with a transformation from light to darkness. The story of the fallen angel Azazel traveled through oral tradition before being inscribed in various forms. Ancient Hebrew texts speak of Azazel as a corrupter of humanity. Mesopotamian clay tablets describe a winged being who drinks life from the veins of men. By medieval times, the connection between Azazel and vampires had evolved into tales of aristocratic undead, beings of supernatural power who required blood to maintain their immortality. The nobility's separation from common society mirrored Azazel's own isolation from both divine and mortal realms. Victorian literature transformed these legends further, romanticizing the vampire as a tragic figure, powerful yet cursed, immortal yet eternally unfulfilled. This portrayal echoes Azazel's original dilemma, gaining knowledge at the cost of divine connection. Modern interpretations continue to reinvent the vampire, from soulless predators to conflicted anti-heroes. Yet beneath these variations lies the consistent theme first embodied by Azazel: beings caught between worlds, powerful yet fundamentally incomplete, immortal yet forever hungry. Why does the Azazel demon continue to captivate our imagination after millennia? Perhaps because his story reflects our own internal struggles. Like Azazel, we exist in a state of knowing enough to question, but not enough to be satisfied. We too hunger for experiences beyond our natural limitations. The fallen angel Azazel represents the ultimate question of sacrifice. What would you surrender for knowledge? For experience? For power? His choice mirrors the human condition. We constantly balance between acceptance of our limitations and the desire to transcend them. In Azazel's transformation, we see our own potential for both elevation and corruption. His eternal hunger symbolizes our insatiable curiosity, the blessing and curse of consciousness itself. The vampire he became embodies our fear of losing humanity in the pursuit of transcending it. Perhaps this is why vampire mythology endures, not merely as entertainment, but as a profound metaphor for the human experience. We are all, in our way, caught between worlds and knowing enough to desire more, living long enough to fear death, powerful enough to recognize our limitations. What would you sacrifice to become something more? Would you exchange your place in the natural order for forbidden knowledge? Would you, like Azazel, choose experience over innocence, knowledge over bliss, hunger over contentment? The choice, as it was for heaven's fallen watcher, remains eternally yours.